What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Wednesday, May 6th. These picks apply for the DraftKings Showdown slate. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, real quick for those who don't know how these simulated slates work, everything works the same. You build a full lineup using the players available in the slate. The only difference is the fantasy points each player scores is a fantasy score from any game that player has played so far this year. Only players with at least 15 games played are in the player pool. Pretty simple. They just take a score at random from previous games that player has played, and that's it. So knowing how that works, we've added some tools to Draft Dashboard so you can see all the possible outcomes of scores from each player, and we show the percent chance that the player has to score in each point range. So pretty handy. You can hover over the Sim Scores button and see right here exactly what scores this player can get for this contest. It will be one of these at random. And then you can see what percent chance they have to score in these point ranges. Okay, remember, we have a daily cheat sheet for esports for League of Legends, and that's linked from the Sports tab right at the top of Draft Dashboard. We finally got our sim tools working for MLB on FanDuel. So you can now go tap on that MLB tab at the top of the site and see the percent chance to score within these fantasy point ranges. So for example, Jose Altuve, he has a 17% chance to score 60 plus fantasy points. It's really handy to know so you know what you're getting into with each of your MLB picks. Okay guys, let's take a look at this DraftKings showdown between the Phoenix Suns and the Atlanta Hawks. Okay, so there's a bunch of value on this slate. I'm going to give you the top value plays on this slate. And if you really want to go cheap with value, take a look at DeAndre Hunter, projected at 22.8 fantasy points here tonight. That's 22.8 times the value. He's only 1,000 DraftKings salary. Let's take a look at his sim scores. A 27% chance to score 15 fantasy points or less, a 49% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points, a 22% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points, and a 2% chance to score 45 to 60 fantasy points. Those are amazing numbers for a min salary player, so I like DeAndre Hunter here at 1,000 DraftKings salary. Now, I don't know why or if you could even use two minimum salary players, but the other option here is Mikal Bridges, projected at 20.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's 20.3 times value. He's 1,000 DraftKings salary. And let's take a look at his sim scores. A 38% chance to score 15 fantasy points or less, a 40% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points, and a 22% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points. So if you're going to go with one or the other, you got to go with DeAndre Hunter, but I also like Mikal Bridges here at 1,000 DraftKings salary. Okay, this might be overkill here with the value, but if you got extra salary and you don't need to go with a min salary player, take a look at Kevin Huerter, projected at 26.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's 10.9 times value. He's 2,400 DraftKings salary. And let's take a look at his sim scores. He only has a 9% chance to score 15 fantasy points or less, a 64% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points, a 21% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points, and a 5% chance to score 45 to 60 fantasy points. So that's a 26% chance to score 30 fantasy points or more. So I like Kevin Huerter here at 2,400 DraftKings salary. Okay, a nice mid-range play here. I like Kelly Oubre Jr. I think this guy's way underpriced. He's projected at 33.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.8 times value. He's 5,800 DraftKings salary. Let's take a look at his sim scores. A 4% chance to score 15 fantasy points or less. A 41% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points. A 39% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points. A 16% chance to score 45 to 60 fantasy points. So this guy's got some big upside. So I like Kelly Oubre Jr. here at 5,800 DraftKings salary. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. So look, guys, I know there's not a lot of sports playing right now, but we are posting a daily cheat sheet for esports for the League of Legends contests, and we just added these new DFS tools for the NBA simulated slates. We're going to be updating our tools to help you pick the best players for these sim sports, and I think these tools are going to give you a big advantage. There's no human element here. This is a stats game. This is a math problem. This is where our tools can really help you identify the numbers, the percent chance these players are going to score within these point ranges, so you know what you're getting into with each pick. And another value play for you here, guys. There's just so much value on this slate, but I also like Jeff Teague. He's projected at 23.3 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.5 times value. He's 4,200 DraftKings salary. Let's take a look at his sim scores. You know what? Actually, forget about Jeff Teague. I don't think we're going to need him. Looking at these sim scores, it looks like Kevin Huerter might even be a better play. So I'm going to just skip this sim scores for Jeff Teague. I'm taking him off my list. I don't think we're going to need him. Okay, moving on to the upper tier players here. We got Ricky Rubio projected at 35.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.1 times value. He's 7,000 DraftKings salary. Let's take a look at his sim scores. A 5% chance to score 15 fantasy points or less. A 33% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points. A 40% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points. A 16% chance to score 45 to 60 fantasy points. And a 5% chance to score 60 fantasy points or more. So I like Ricky Rubio here at 7,000 DraftKings salary. Moving up in salary here, I like Clint Capella, projected at 38.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.7 times value. He's 8,200 DraftKings salary. And let's take a look at his sim scores. Just a 3% chance to score 15 fantasy points or less. A 23% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points, a 49% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points, and a 26% chance to score 45 to 60 fantasy points. So I like Clint Capella here at 8,200 DraftKings salary. And just a little bit more than that, I like John Collins, projected at 41.8 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.9 times value. He's 8,600 DraftKings salary. And let's take a look at his sim scores. A 0% chance to score 15 fantasy points or less. A 15% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points. A 44% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points. A 34% chance to score 45 to 60 fantasy points. And a 7% chance to score 60 fantasy points or more. That's a 41% chance for him to score 45 fantasy points or more. So I like John Collins here at 8,600 DraftKings salary. Now moving on up to the studs in this slate, I got 3 of them for you here. Probably going to be able to fit all these guys into your lineup because there's so much value on this slate. So I like DeAndre Ayton, projected at 41.5 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.2 times value. He's 9,800 DraftKings salary. Let's take a look at his sim scores. A 0% chance to score 15 fantasy points or less. a 17% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points, a 50% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points, a 30% chance to score 45 to 60 fantasy points, and a 3% chance to score 60 fantasy points or more. So I like DeAndre Ayton here at 9,800 DraftKings salary. Okay, now looking at the super studs on this slate, one of these guys is going to be in your captain spot. Let's start with Devin Booker, projected at 42.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 3.7 times value. He's 11,600 DraftKings salary. Let's take a look at his sim scores. A 2% chance to score 15 fantasy points or less, a 19% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points, a 41% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points, a 33% chance to score 45 to 60 fantasy points, and a 5% chance to score 60 fantasy points or more. So I like Devin Booker here at 11,600 DraftKings salary. And the stud that I'm probably going to roll with here in my captain spot is Trae Young, projected at 51.4 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.1 times value. He's 12,400 DraftKings salary. And let's take a look at his sim scores. A 5% chance to score 15 fantasy points or less, an 8% chance to score 15 to 30 fantasy points, a 16% chance to score 30 to 45 fantasy points, a 33% chance to score 45 to 60 fantasy points, and take a look at this, by far the most 60 plus point upside on the slate. He has a 38% chance to score 60 fantasy points or more, so that's why he's going to be my captain, especially with all the value on this slate. So I like Trae Young here at 12,400 DraftKings salary. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck. Okay guys, if you're getting any value from this video, please hit that red subscribe button. We put out new fantasy basketball videos every single day. So if you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell notification, you won't miss out on any of our new fantasy basketball and fantasy football videos. Tons of free stuff coming your way. It only takes a second, and it helps us push out more fantasy content for you guys to consume each and every day. It's because of you subscribers that make this possible. So thank you for supporting this channel. This is a quick reminder, you should be reading the comments of this video. We have some savvy basketball fans who watch these videos, and they often give great plays and call me out when my picks are wrong. Wisdom of the crowd is a great way to get a feel for what players the field likes in today's NBA slate. We also have a DFS tool that shows you what players our members like for today's slate, so you can come on in and check that out.